All right, welcome back to another video. Today we're diving into the topic we all kind of struggle with when we first start learning Spanish, and that is por versus para. I break it down super easy for you guys right here. Por versus para, you look it up in the dictionary, what does it say? For. So that's it. That's all you need to know, right? No, there's actually way more that goes into this. It's important to understand that por and para are both prepositions. All right, por and para are both prepositions, so they're kind of abstract concepts, right? Especially too when it's non-directional. So, for, por, and para can be used directionally, but can also be used for other things. So what I have here is a phrase that I use that my high school teacher taught me, and it really kind of helps clarify some things when I'm generally guessing between por and para. So para mainly means for, but also sometimes means other things, whereas por mostly sometimes means other things, but also means for. Right, so when you think about for in your head, a majority of the time you're going to be using para when you're doing that translation from Spanish to English. Por, though, sometimes also counts. So what we're going to do is first look at the other things that por or para can be, and then we'll dive into the fors that come with por and para. So the other things first for por, because that's generally what it's used for, are these other things. Por can mean by. So when something is written by someone, it's written by the author. Está escrito por Tolkien. All right, here's my example. Tolkien is the author. So that's going to be our por. Por also means por. So two per person, dos por persona. All right. We also have now directionally. Now we're getting into the directionality of por versus para. We have through. So we walk through the park is caminamos por el parque. Right, so this one assumes that you are inside the park walking through it. And I have a diagram we'll look at in a second that kind of explains that. And then along as well, I fish along the river. Yo pesco por el río. Right, I'm fishing along the river. So those two are kind of directional. The other ones just straight memorize and standard preposition use. All right. So here I have my the other things for para. As I said earlier, para is really going to be our for when we do a direct translation, but it's important to note these other things. So here my example is para being used as to. So I study to improve my grades. To improve, we know if you've seen the video, that's our infinitive, to improve. But in Spanish, they say yo estudio para mejorar mis calificaciones. All right, so para mejorar, para there, when we see it translated as to, it's really just the filler in between the conjugated verb and the infinitive. If you need some more work on infinitives, I have a video posted on that. But para in that sense just translates to. All right, and then we have so as to as well. So I run a lot, so as to have a strong heart. Would be yo corro mucho para que tengo un corazón fuerte. All right, so there para que is used as so as to. So these are the other things, not as common for para, because again, that's going to be mainly our for. So let's dive into our fors now. Sorry about that weird little camera thing happened. So now we're going to dive into the times when por translates to for. Like we said, por used for a bunch of other things, but also for. So our first example is, for example. That's going to be por ejemplo. So we wouldn't say para example, para ejemplo. Doesn't sound right. It's por ejemplo. Measurement of time, when we use the word for, we're going to be using por. So por 2 meses I have written here, that's for 2 months. Reasons, all right? So thank you for coming. Gracias por venir. Thanks for coming. That's going to be por instead of para. And then the last one is in exchange for something. So when I'm trading something, right? So yo te doy $2. I give you $2 for a book. Por un libro instead of para un libro. All right? And then here we have our fors for para. And this is, again, when we think of for, like how we generally use it in English, those are kind of specific examples. The main reason why we use for aligns better with para. So intended for something, es para ella. When I am giving someone, it's for her. I'm giving someone something, it's intended for them. I'll use para instead of por. Destination, so yo salgo para Miami is I'm leaving for Miami. I'm heading, not for, but for Miami, for a destination is going to be para. And then deadline, tarea para viernes is going to be homework for Friday. All right, so when there's a deadline for something, para, destination, Miami, intended for someone as para ella. Notice how I just kind of made that connection. As para ella, there's our destination. Para Miami, destination, deadline. So what I have here is hopefully a visual that helps clarify this just a little bit. So para and then to the destination, it's a straight line, right? This is intended for you. My destination is to Miami. Those things are straight line movements or directly to someone. Whereas yo camino por el parque doesn't just mean I'm walking. I'm all around the park. I'm walking all over. All right, I'm kind of just walking however I so please. So por and para. If I said it was easy, I would be lying. This is just one of those things that takes time as you're reading books or articles or listening to stuff in Spanish. Take a second when you hear por and para and try and figure out why it was used there. As always, any questions, leave them down below. Appreciate you guys coming out.